r/AskReddit. What are the spookiest audio or video clips on the internet? The loneliest whale. From what I recall, it's a sound they've recorded several times, but never found the whale itself. Its call is a higher frequency than any other that they've recorded, and only ever seems to be from one. Edit 1. The 52 Hz whale. Edit 2. Wow, my most upvoted comment. Thanks everyone. This one used to haunt me too. I came across this article a few years ago, and it made me feel a bit better. Blue whales, fin whales and humpback whales. All these whales can hear this guy. They are not deaf. He's just odd. Operation Wandering Soul. The US government was coming up with new ways of luring the Viet Cong out of the jungles during the Vietnam War. They came up with this disturbing and creepy audio recording of what sounds like spirits of the undead calling out to the Viet Cong. The US military would play this audio at night to try to bring out the Viet Cong from their hiding spots and demoralize them. Just imagine being in the middle of a jungle late at night and hearing that on full blast, not knowing where it's coming from or what it is. I studied this for a project years ago, as well as the Chu Hoi program. We had to teach middle school kids about our project, and it's safe to say some are probably still scarred. One of the professors walking around happened to stop by our booth, and by the time he heard our speech and listened to the recording, he looked like he'd seen a ghost. And if you think it's bad, have it translated. It plays on their religious beliefs and makes everything so much worse. Stephen McDaniel being interviewed on the local news about his missing neighbor, who he had killed and dismembered, and learning mid-interview that her body had been found. The link also contains footage that he shot of the victim through her window the night he killed her. This was creepy the way he shut down. When they said body, you could see his soul leave his body. He looks like he's just been hit by the news that she's dead. Honestly, I could totally have believed that, but maybe I'm just naive. I find the WW1 battle sounds to be scary. It's just extremely loud sounds of firearms going off and artillery crashing down, but you can't make out one single shot. They're all clumped together in what sounds like hell. To think soldiers would endure this during a battle for hours, days, even weeks at a time, makes me feel for the poor soldiers. I remember one audio of a woman screaming while a chimpanzee was eating her face, or something like that. I heard it a long time ago, so I don't remember the details. Her friend was on the phone begging for help, and the call was recorded. I don't remember the audio itself, but I do remember I felt terrible after hearing it. Yep. She lost her eyes, lips, face, ears, fingers, nose. It really fucked her up sadly. In the call you can hear a classic chimpanzee screech, and the dispatcher thought it was fake, but sent an officer there. The chimp tried the passenger door of the police car, locked. The chimp then punched the mirror off and started his way to the driver door, and the officer shot the shit out of the chimp, and it ran inside and died by its cage. I remember it from years ago as well. I'd be terrified of chimps if they just roamed around. This phone call that the Golden State Killer made to one of his previous victims. For those too nervous to venture, it's a short clip of a woman saying hello, then loud breathing and whispering 3 times, "Gonna kill you." Pretty spooky. If I received that call, the next call on my log would be the cops. 2003 Station nightclub concert. Pyrotechnics were used irresponsibly, causing foam to catch fire, which then spread to the surroundings and engulfed the building in flames. Within a matter of minutes, 100 people lost their lives. So many things in this video still give me chills when I think about it. The screams, the sheer magnitude of it all, and the time it took people to register what happened. The one that messes with me is the video of that one senator committing suicide because of some allegations. Very messed. Russian ghost radio station has always creeped me out. No one knows who runs it or why. It just makes odd sounds, and every once in a while someone will speak the Russian ghost station. I'm not even a very religious person, but the audio from the exorcism of Anneliese Michel chills me to the bone. You can find it on YouTube. She went through 67 exorcism sessions, 1 or 2 each week, lasting up to 4 hours, were performed over about 10 months in 75 to 76. Later investigation determined that she was malnourished and dehydrated. Her parents and the priests responsible were charged with homicide. She was treated horribly. The Versailles wedding hall disaster. It was a fairly lucrative event hall in Jerusalem. The contractor who built the hall cut some corners, and it was not up to specs. In particular, they misused a newly invented building material called palcal. Then, on May 24, 2001, during a wedding, the entire dance floor collapsed into the ground floor. 23 people died, including the bride. The inventor of palcal was then sentenced to 4 years in jail, which is weird on its own. There is a very unpleasant video of the crash. The song in the background is called, roughly translated, I Have a Golden Heart, which was an incredibly major hit by a very popular singer Sarah Haddad. Look her up. You'll probably won't like her style, but she has an unbelievable voice, which since the incident decided never to perform it again. So one of the stickiest, catchiest, and frankly a bit annoying songs of the decade became a symbol for negligent catastrophe. Edit. The bride didn't die. She was heavily injured but survived. Edit. They fell from the 3rd floor to the ground floor. The bride was badly injured but survived. There's a horrific interview, in Hebrew, where the groom tells how he carried her out of there unconscious, though at the time he couldn't tell if she was alive. The contractors also went to jail, each for 2 years, while Eliron, the inventor of palcal, did 4. The video narration is in Dutch apparently. The music and the sings are all in Hebrew. The last frame show volunteers from Zaka, initials for disaster victims identification, a Haredi, that is, ultra-orthodox, organization which clean up death scenes from human remains and prepares them for burial. The way you see them just sink a little, then the screams. The massacre of Jonestown is spooky. First you hear the children and babies cry, and then silence, after they all drank some poison, and killed themselves, because their leader Jim Jones said so. Because their leader Jim Jones said so. And because his men, who had guns pointed at said women and children, also said so. Edit. Hey, thanks for the silver. I promise I won't drink it. This 911 call of a mother who was shot and found her daughters dead gave me absolute chills. There's a 911 call of an old woman I think who's on the phone to police reporting someone breaking into her house. She's explaining what's happened and where she is, and then just goes silent. A few seconds later you hear her just start screaming and screaming, and it was her being killed by the burglar while on the phone. I can't remember her name, but it's one of the ones that stuck with me. Edit. Her name was Ruth Price. I think the call is on YouTube somewhere. The video of Ellis Lam in the elevator before her death. I just have no idea what she's doing. People, that it's clear that there's someone off camera, and I get why they say that, but I don't think anything is clear. She's acting so strange, and then to turn up dead a few days later. So sad and unsettling. There is an audio clip on it called The Bloop. I'm sure you have seen it. Basically an unidentified sound recorded in the ocean a few years back believed to be from an animal, but the sound is so loud it couldn't have been from any animal we know of. Apparently much louder than a blue whale, suggesting there is a huge unknown monster chilling in the ocean. Supposedly it was debunked to be an ice quake, essentially an iceberg hitting the seafloor. From what I remember, that was simply the most logical answer next to a sea creature. The recording is slowed down to make it audible. It's scary AFMO. Fun fact, the sound came from the exact area H.P. Lovecraft described Cthulhu as sleeping at. Well, that fact isn't very fun at all. The first audio ever recorded back in 1860. It's of a woman singing a Euclair de la Lune. It sounds so eerie, and in my opinion, she sounds like a ghost. You can barely hear the words in the song from how distorted the audio is. Was a bit shaken when I went to sleep that night. 3 years ago, Liberty German, 14, and Abigail Williams, 13, were found murdered, and to this day their case remains unsolved. Here is a very excellent write-up on the entire case by /u/Babajo Jones that I very much recommend reading. Police released a very short video and audio clip of who they believe the killer to be, taken from one of their cell phones. Here is a mashup of the two, but note that they are two separate things. You can clearly hear the guy saying, "Guys, down the hill." It's an incredibly haunting video and audio clip, especially knowing that this killer is still out there. Listening to last podcast of the left, they did a 911 call episode. There's one where a guy calls and says his partner is stabbing her baby with scissors. You can hear her in the background screaming die, die die. Can't remember the episode but it's, yeah, a bad one. One lunatic, one ice pick. If you've watched Don't FK with Cats on Netflix, you'll know what I mean. Or if you've watched the real video, you should probably stick to Don't FK with Cats on Netflix though. I watched the actual clip and it freaked me out so bad I couldn't sleep for weeks. I'm so late on this and pissed because my entry will probably be seen by no one. In 1957, two aircraft collided above a school in Pacoima, California, killing 8 people. During the crash, the principal was giving an assembly which was recorded. You can hear the plane approaching the school in the recording. Spooky part, it was the school of Richie Valens, but he wasn't in that day. The event made him terrified of flying, and he was famously killed alongside Buddy Holly and Big Bopper in a crash 2 years later. The recording is here. Minecraft cave noises. Wrap up the thread, boys, this one's a winner. Like and subscribe for more r/content.